Hey guys, it's Crystal from Essentially Tarot. Welcome back to my channel. If you've read the description, then you know what we're doing today. And we are doing a September deck haul. And I know what you're thinking. Didn't we just do a deck haul video? We sure did for August because I sat on that for a really long time before filming it. So here we are. I know what else you're thinking. Don't you have enough decks? Yeah, sure do. I really do. I am making a conscious effort to really pay attention to the amount of decks that I'm bringing in going forward because I have had just a huge influx over the last few months. I do have some Kickstarters that are winding down, so those should start making their way over to me soon. I also have a pre-order coming in next week, surprise, that I will be filming. And outside of that, I am going to really make a conscious effort not to bring in anything new. In fact, I'm going to start kind of binging and purging. So prepare for a video on that possibly. I want to kind of pull everything out and maybe talk about what I'm considering letting go. And I want to work with them one last time just to make sure that I'm ready to part with them. But anyway, that's not what we're doing here today. We're doing a September deck haul video for the decks that I purchased and or received in the month of September. So let's just jump right in. Let's start with one that's maybe not so exciting because if you've watched my deck collection video, there's so many of them, I did already talk about this deck in a much smaller form, but I did finally get a normal size Thoth. This is like the tarot size Thoth. It's not the large one. And honestly, I wasn't going to buy a new Thoth. I don't remember what I said in that video. I don't remember if I said I was going to or not. I said I might eventually. But I came across this in my adventures in the world. And was like, you know what? It's there. I wanted a bigger copy. So I just grabbed it. Because the other one is just so tiny that I really just could not see the artwork well at all. And Lady Frida Harris's artwork is very beautiful and very detailed and involved, and I kind of just wanted to be able to see it on a bigger scale. So again, one that is not new in art or new in concept, but size-wise, just a much better fit. I don't know if I'll be getting rid of the tiny Thoth deck that I have or if I'll hold on to it as a travel deck. Again, that's kind of a decision for another video, isn't it? But that's the first one. So next up, this is one that I've seen floating around for a little while now, is the Circle of Life Tarot. This is by, it does say artwork by Maria Di Stefano. Who is our author? Does it tell us anywhere? I can't find it. Shall we open it and see? Let's do that. So, yeah, it just says artwork by Maria Di Stefano. Quite the difference, right? Normally we get a deck and it only tells us the author. It doesn't tell us the artist, and this is kind of the opposite. I love the way they did this box. There's like this little outcut, that's not it, cut out in the bottom. So your little white book kind of just chills. Of course, I can't see what I'm doing, but it chills down there in that hole, and then the cards sit on top of it. So here's your little white book for the Circle of Life Tarot. Let's see if it tells us who the author is. Artwork by Maria Di Stefano, graphics by Chiara De Magistris. It doesn't sound like I pronounced that right, I'm sorry. And instructions by Beppe Vigna. Now it comes in, obviously you can see English, Italian, Spanish, French, German, and I'm assuming that's Russian down at the bottom. So the book is not very long. The English section of the book is only 65 pages. And you get like a little blurb for each card and then just meaning keywords. So I haven't used this deck yet, so I can't really speak to the book. But the artwork in this deck is really beautiful. And I know some people do not love circle decks. They're just not into it. I like circle decks because I do think it's cool that you could read them directionally. However, the one thing I do notice about this book is that they don't give you any sort of differentiation between reading this directionally. Like, they pretty much just give you one set of meanings. How beautiful is this moon card? I love, love, love her. So yeah, so if you're new to reading directionally, you might have to do some research on your own, because the book that comes with this deck just doesn't discuss that. So that's my word of how beautiful is this Ace of Wands. I love it. I love it. The artwork is really beautiful. I'm really excited to work with this deck. I know some people have it and they didn't love it. It didn't work out for them. I'm hoping to feel differently about it once I really start getting into it. I've already flipped through this deck about 1 million times, because I think the artwork is great. It's very fantasy, I will say. There's a lot of like little like goblin-esque creatures going on in this deck. There's, you know, here's Justice is a mermaid. The Hermit's beautiful in this deck as well. Like, look how beautiful that card is. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to speak to diversity when we're talking about, you know, there's some green creatures in here that look humanoid. So, you know, this is my favorite too, this Ace of Cups. I don't know that I see a lot of people that represent minorities in this deck. I could be mistaken. I've gone through it a few times, but I can't, you know, again, we have a purple person. I can't really remember seeing anyone that wasn't, you know, purple or green or blue that represents a minority. I think most of them seem to be fairly Caucasian. So that's problematic. I feel like if they were going to do a fantasy themed deck with people that are humanoid but not actual humans, then maybe they should have stuck to that theme. Again, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to go through the whole deck to figure it out. I feel like if I can't figure it out by just going through a flip through, then obviously there's not enough representation for persons of color in the deck. But anyway, that is the Circle of Life Tarot. Again, I'm excited to work with it. I do like the artwork. I just wish there was a little more diversity as far as the real humans go. Now, the next deck that I'm going to show you is an odd little deck. I do not know what it's actually called. Here's what it looks like. It comes in this cute little case. I purchased this from Baba Studios, and it's very inexpensive. I think it was like 2 decks. They make you purchase 2. They come in a pack of 2 for like $25. And on Baba Studios website, they just call this the little Czech deck, as in Czechoslovakia. So I don't know what the actual name is. But it is an oracle, supposedly. The book is not in English in any way, shape, or form. So if you do pick this up, prepare to either try to hunt down a copy that is in English. I don't know if there is one. I have no idea. I didn't look. Or read these intuitively is pretty much your choices. It reminds me, oh, here's the backings. I forgot to show you. It reminds me of a Lenormand, or a Lenormand, as you will. It also very much reminds me of the Gypsy fortune-telling cards that I had in one of my deck collection videos. They have a lot of very similar cards. The Gypsy fortune-telling deck does have more cards than this one. But there are a lot of cards that are very similar. Obviously nudity, sorry guys, I didn't give a warning. But you see you have your titles with various languages at the bottom. So they do have titles in English. You can see this one's Temptations, and we have like Adam and Eve. It's a cute little deck. I purchased it because it was inexpensive, and I was intrigued. I didn't know what to expect. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't used this yet either. I just got this in really towards the end of September. So like the Gypsy fortune telling deck, I'm going to have to kind of figure out how I want to use this. Again, I picked it up because it was inexpensive, and I said, no, I don't know what that's about. Now I know. But yeah, that's the little Czech deck off of Baba Studio's websites. Again, I apologize that I don't have more information than that, but I can't read anything else that's on the deck. So there's that. Okay, next up are two decks that I already did a full walkthrough of and posted last week, and that is the Divine and Play Tarot and the Shadow Play Tarot decks by Matt Green. These are a Kickstarter that just ended. These just came in a few days ago when I had filmed, and I literally filmed and posted the video the day they arrived because I was like, oh my gosh. So let's take them out. Let me get in frame. Here is the Divine and Play deck. You can see it has the red backing. And I think I did shuffle these, you guys. If I'm not, yep, I sure did. So the concept behind these decks, as I discussed in the walkthrough, if you want to see a full walkthrough, it's up on my channel. The majors are black and the minors are white, and you can see they are playing card size. They're very small. And the thought process is you can use these either for divination, or you can go through and pull out all of the black cards, as well as, I actually noticed this after I did my walkthrough, all of the knights are also a slightly, it's not really coming up, so, oh, you can kind of see it there. They're a slightly off white, so you can pull out all of the majors and all of the knights in order to use the cards as traditional playing cards. So it's basically the Rider-Waite-Smith in a playing card format, and I think it is the coolest idea. I think it was just kind of genius. And yeah, it's just a sweet little deck. I don't know that I'll use it as playing cards, as I said in my walkthrough when oh my gosh, 52 pickup, 78 pickup actually. I don't know that I'll use it as a playing card deck. I haven't really decided because I don't know. I have playing cards and I don't really want to share my deck with anybody else. So, but I thought the concept was so cool. And again, I said in my walkthrough that, you know, I had a relative who used to read playing cards. And on the other side of my family, I had one that used to read tarot, and I thought it was a really cool way to honor both of those women in one deck. So I was really excited to get this. Sorry, I was putting it back in the box. Now the Shadow Play Tarot deck is very similar. This one is, rather than, oops, hold on, I got a couple cards on top there. Rather than being the color version, it is black and white, and it is missing those pips. And again, on my walkthrough, I kind of went through this and said, I don't know that I've ever seen a black and white Rider-Waite-Smith. They have the black and gold. They have, I think they're the Neo decks that came out are kind of similar. They might actually have a black and white in that line of decks that were released via Kickstarter. You guys know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the name of them right now. It's terrible. But I really enjoy the images in black and white. I think it just kind of brings like a whole nother level to them. Some of them even seem like more crisp and more dynamic in black and white than they do in color. So it's the same concept, just again, in black and white, and I love it. Obviously you have the opposite that's true with this deck. You have your majors are in white and your minors are in black. Now, actually, now that I said that, your knights are not obviously a different color border in this deck, but you can pull them out when you find the little K versus the big K. So I guess just as easy, right? It's not bad. So that is the Divine and Play Tarot and the Shadow Play Tarot. Those came in, squeaked in right there at the end of the month for me, and I was really excited. I've been waiting not too long on these, but I was, you know, Kickstarter is lovely, but oh my goodness, I am so impatient. So when I back things on Kickstarter, I'm constantly checking for updates. I'm constantly checking for tracking. So even though these did not take that long, it felt like forever to me because I am a giant child. But these are really cool. And Matt Green was gracious enough to comment on my walkthrough and say that yes, he will be selling any extras of the deck once all of the backers have received theirs. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. The next deck that I had come in September, let's go back to another oracle, was Oracle of the Essences. Now this is by Monica the Enchantress. It is a collab deck as far as artwork goes, but she did come up with the book. She is the author. And I ordered this right off of her website. She is located in Australia. However, I will say it actually got to me really quickly compared to how long I thought it was going to take. So that is shout out to Monica because it shipped pretty quick. So here's your little white book. And you can see you get your card, you get your card name, the keywords, and then you get a little write-up, and then you get the divinatory meaning, and you get an affirmation with each card, which is nice. There is a long list of, where are they? They're back here. The artists. So we have Bridget Ackerman, Emily Illies, Isabella Maria Bianchini Wood. That might be wrong. Bianchini Wood. Kel Hummel, Christy O'Neill, Francisco Marin, Michelle Ianchef, Peggy Chacon Carrasco. Those are all of the artists. So it is a collab deck. If you don't love collabs, this might not be for you, but it is really beautiful. We have that kind of sparkly matte gilding, and these are your backs. And I know if you've watched, you're screaming at the screen right now. I have an essential oil oracle. I do. I have the essential oil oracle by Lisa Powers, which is really great. It's very different from this one. It has, no real pictures. It's mostly words. It has a totally different concept. It's a much bigger deck. I believe this one is, does it tell me? 56. And the Lisa Powers deck, I believe, is actually 78, which is cool. But I just liked the true oracle feel of this one with the artwork and the keywords. I love this Cypress card. It's my favorite, comparing it to the Tower. I think it's really cool. But yeah, so this just feels more like an oracle with the keywords and the names and the artwork. And honestly, I'm so guilty because I even said in my oracle deck video that I don't use the essential oil oracle that I have very often. And then I went out and I bought another one because why wouldn't I? And they're both so different that I don't necessarily feel guilty about keeping both of them. But I do feel like it's kind of silly because I don't use the one I have. So we'll see what happens. Again, I'm going to make it a point to obviously get to know this one. I want to work with this. It's brand new. And I'm going to make it a point to kind of pull out that Lisa Powers oracle as well and see if it's something that I'm going to work with, because otherwise maybe it's time to let it go to someone who will. Maybe this is the replacement. Maybe I'll prefer this to that. I don't know. But again, not about that. So that is Oracle of the Essences by Monica the Enchantress. All right, let's go back to a deck that, again, you may have already seen because I did do a walkthrough of this when it came in. And that is Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani. This deck is so beautiful. I have not... Why do I not know how to open the box right now? I have not had a chance to work with this yet. I've been dying to work with it since it came, but I had other things that were in line before it. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to dive in yet. This is the guidebook that comes with it. It has a much larger companion book that kind of goes a little more into detail. It is sold separately, and eventually I'll probably break down and purchase that as well. We'll see. I kind of want to see what it's like working with this, but you can see you get the card and just a teeny little tidbit here. The concept of the deck is that each card is a story, a myth, a legend from around the world. So it will tell you obviously, the name of the legend and where it's from. This is from Chinese mythology. And then it gives you a little bitty write-up on the card. It's not really telling you much about the actual myth. So you could always obviously look it up yourself if you wanted to. And then you get an upright and a reversed meaning. So there isn't a whole lot here, but that is because there is that larger companion book. So it kind of is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. This deck is so beautiful. And it is linen cardstock. Look at these backs. Can't even. The backs are probably my favorite. But yeah, again, oh no, I shuffled these. Why did I do that? Probably because I figured I did a walkthrough, so what did it matter? These are really beautiful. I love the artwork in these. Look at that tower. It's Rapunzel. They're just really beautiful. Again, I've done a full walkthrough of this, so I'm not going to go too crazy. But yeah, if you love tapping into stories and myths and fairy tales and John Henry, by the way, when I was doing my walkthrough, I was like, I know who this is. It's John Henry. But yeah, if you love tapping into, you know, a meteor story for your tarot, if you love having, you know, myths and fairy tales and legends to kind of relate back to the cards, this is obviously an awesome deck for that. Then we have the little match girl here for the Five of Pentacles. Breaking my heart. But yeah, this deck is really beautiful. And the cardstock is so nice and just that linen texture, and it's a nice thick cardstock. It's beautiful. This deck is absolutely beautiful. So anyway, that is, I'm putting cards the wrong way. That is the Tarot of the Divine by Yoshi Yoshitani. It's gorgeous. Okay, so next up, or actually last but not least, is a deck that I purchased because I first saw it on Kasha from Tarot Maps channel. If you haven't watched her videos, check her out. She is really cool. She's like the very adulty tarot. Like all of her decks to me just are very, I don't know, they're just very adulty and very, I don't know, on the less traditional end of the spectrum, but in like a really fascinating way. She has a very interesting taste in her decks, and I love watching her videos because it's so far outside of anything that you typically see come up. And I saw this on there, and this is the Pholarchos Tarot by Carmen Sorrenti. And yeah, she was talking about this deck in one of her videos. And I was like, oh, that is so different from anything that I own. And I think I need it. So I did. It came in last week. It's still fairly new here. I have not done anything with it, really. I shuffled it a little bit, but that's it. Here is the little white book. It has nice glossy like magazine pages. I will say the write-ups in here are inconsistent. Like you can see here with the 4 of wings versus the 7 of wings, or the 8 of wings even is only two sentences. So that's interesting. Again, I haven't really worked with the book to really say anything about the writing style or whether or not that information is enough or not enough. I don't know. They have changed the minors. Obviously, you have sparks for wands, spirals for pentacles, wings, not feathers, wings for swords, and then coral for cups. So that is something to be aware of. These are the backs. A little wild, right? And it's so funny because when this deck came, these are big, by the way, these cards. Let me show you, like compared to the tarot sized Thoth. Like these are like, they're almost like oracle card sized. So they're a big fat card, but they're not too big. When these came, I obviously went through them a whole lot because the artwork is so fascinating to me. And just, again, so outside of most of what I have. And I love this. All of the knights are in black and white. Although it's trail, not knight. So they've changed that too. They've changed your quartz. But I went through this several times after it came because I just thought the artwork was so stunning and so evocative, and just I was getting lost in it a little bit. And I kept thinking that there was something very dreamlike about these, but there was also something very primal and primitive about them as well. And I opened up the book because I just kind of wanted to read, you know, the section where Carmen talks about, you know, the deck creation and what the inspiration behind the deck was. And it was so fascinating to see that Falarcos, I didn't know what Falarcos were or meant, but it's referring to kind of ancient civilization and how they would go off to these caves and kind of hole themselves up in these caves for these spiritual, I don't want to say spiritual retreat because that doesn't sound right, but they would go into these caves in order to dream and get spiritual connection and spiritual messages through their dreams. And that was kind of the basis of this deck, was kind of, you know, tapping into that energy, tapping into, again, that ancient civilization, that dreamlike manifestation of spirit. And I just thought it was so perfect because I got all of that just from flipping through the deck. It felt very deep and spiritual, but primal, but dreamlike, and it made perfect sense when I read the description. Here is the Ace of Spirals. Isn't she beautiful? But yeah, so this is the Pholarchos Tarot. It is very cerebral, very evocative, very outside of your traditional... Oh, that is the Tower card, by the way. Isn't that so beautiful? We didn't see her in there. She didn't come up. But that is the Tower card. I love that it's like splitting her in half, because oftentimes isn't that kind of what the Tower feels like? But yeah, so if you are into something that is less traditional, less cookie cutter, as I throw the box, this is a really beautiful deck, and I'm so excited, especially over the winter months, to kind of sit with this and work with this more than likely one card at a time. I feel like I really want to dive into each card and kind of see what comes up and maybe journal about it or sit with it for a little while. But I am so excited about this. This was like my real exciting deck at the end of the month. So yeah, that's the Pholarchos Tarot. Okay, so that's it, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Nice and short and sweet, right? Maybe. I love you guys. Please be sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, like this video, all that good stuff. And I will see you shortly. Shortly? I don't know about that. I will see you soon for another video. Love you guys. Bye.